Within its borders, the United Federation planets all but eliminated war, scarcity, and the horrors of the past ages, creating an idealistic and harmonious society. But the Federation's neighbours didn't necessarily share these utopian qualities, and some of them even developed into the opposite direction, establishing brutal colonial empires. A few parts of the Federation lay on the borders of these empires, and in those regions, the horrors that died out in the heart of the Federation occasionally made a comeback. The Federation frontier was a dangerous place, where the ideals of the Federation were tested by hardship and even war. A major event that is referenced quite a bit in Star Trek The Next Generation is the Federation-Cardassian War, but we never actually see it. This major event occurs before The Next Generation and the adventures of the USS Enterprise-D. Yet the conflict, also known as the Cardassian Border Wars, shapes a lot of the events that The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and even Star Trek Voyager deal with. Of course, this conflict also sees the formation of a Marquis in the Star Trek universe, and serves as essential background information for characters like Chief Miles O'Brien. So what actually is this conflict? What goes on in the Star Trek universe? In today's Star Trek Explained video, Trek Central dives into the Federation-Cardassian War. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host, Captain Jack. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then hit that subscribe button for more stories from the final frontier. Click the links in the description to join our Discord server or find us on social media. If you're interested in supporting the channel, click the join button for some extra perks and to chat with the Trek Central crew. As a quick heads up, naturally as the Cardassian Border Wars event takes place off screen in the Star Trek universe, we don't actually have footage of the event. Instead, we've used reference footage, so sometimes it may not match up to what we're actually saying. It's just a visual aid. Okay, engage. The Cardassian Border Wars were fought between the Federation and one of its most powerful neighbours, the Cardassian Union. The Cardassians, the rulers of this empire, were tough quasi-reptilian humanoids that hailed from the planet of Cardassia Prime. They had a proud, militaristic, and above all, authoritarian culture in which the state was never questioned, paranoia was rampant, and discipline was always expected. Once, the Cardassians had a more progressive and republican government, but this society had collapsed due to extreme resource shortages. Cardassia Prime just didn't have the resources to support its population, and this created a period of instability not unlike the one humanity faced during and immediately after World War III. While humanity had gotten out of its own slump through collaboration and peaceful coexistence with other peoples, however, the Cardassians took the opposite approach. They established a totalitarian government, the Cardassian Union, which planned to solve the Cardassians' resource shortages by colonizing more resource-rich planets. In the 23rd and 24th centuries, the Cardassian Union expanded across the Alpha Quadrant, establishing colonies on many planets. In their hunger for resources, the Cardassians didn't just lay claim to uninhabited planets, but they also conquered and occupied inhabited worlds as well, most notably the planet of Bajor. On Bajor, the Cardassians carried out a devastating campaign of strip mining and ecological destruction. They subjugated the native Bajoran population to slavery and genocide. Other inhabited planets that were unlucky enough to be colonized by the Cardassians likely suffered similar fates. The Cardassians justified these atrocities to themselves, within the belief that they were superior to the people they conquered because of their strength and more advanced military technology, as Gul Dukat demonstrated in Deep Space Nine.
If only they had cooperated with us, we could have turned their world into a paradise. From the moment we arrived on Bajor, it was clear that we were the superior race. But they couldn't accept that. They wanted to be treated as equals, when they most certainly were not. Militarily, technologically, culturally, we were almost a century ahead of them in every way. We did not choose to be the superior race. Fate handed us that role.
With the leaders of the Cardassians believing they deserved to have whatever they had the strength to take, the Cardassian Union's expansion quickly became a problem for its neighbours. In particular, the Cardassians began to encroach on the territory of the Federation, which also had colonies spread across the Alpha Quadrant. While the Cardassians' colonies were heavily militarized, Federation colonies generally weren't, and this left them vulnerable to Cardassian invasion. This, combined with the Cardassian Union's aggressive expansionism, meant that war became inevitable. Neither Star Trek canon nor the extended media establishes a specific reason for the start of the Border Wars or a specific start date. However, at the very least, the wars began during or before 2347, when the Cardassians attacked Setlik 3. The Cardassians believed that Setlik 3 was a military staging ground that Starfleet was using to prepare for an attack on Cardassian space, so they dispatched a strike force to destroy the colony. The Setlik 3 colony turned out to be a civilian settlement, not a military one, but the Cardassians leveled it anyway. The Setlik 3 massacre saw close to 100 civilians killed by Cardassians before the USS Rutledge, commanded by Captain Benjamin Maxwell, showed up to reinforce the survivors. Unfortunately, the Rutledge came a day too late to stop the initial massacre, but it was able to support the few survivors from the Setlik 3 colony by deploying landing parties to drive off the Cardassians. The Cardassians were ultimately forced to withdraw, but by that point, the Setlik 3 colony was mostly destroyed, and the USS Rutledge ground teams had suffered significant casualties as well. The early years of the Cardassian Border Wars involved many incidents like the Setlik 3 massacre, as the Cardassians repeatedly attacked Federation colonies and Starfleet outposts located near their territory. Starfleet did its best to defend these colonies and the Cardassian ships marauding across the border sectors, but it could not keep the Cardassians out completely. Fighting was mostly concentrated in the border sectors themselves, several of which became littered with gravimetric mines. The Federation attempted to resolve the conflict peacefully on at least one occasion earlier in the war, when the USS Stargazer, commanded by Captain Jean-Luc Picard, attempted to forge a truce, only for the Cardassians to fire upon the vessel. Many Starfleet vessels and personnel that would become significant in later decades participated in the Cardassian Border Wars. Apart from the USS Rutledge and the USS Stargazer, the USS Tecumseh fought in the war, as did Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Miles O'Brien, and then Lieutenant Catherine Janeway. Casualties on both sides were substantial, and many in Starfleet lost close friends or family as a result of the war. The devastation was even worse for the civilians caught in the crossfire, whom the Cardassians often massacred in order to claim their homeworlds for their own colonizational efforts. One such planet, Camel 5, was so thoroughly devastated by the Cardassians that its society all but collapsed. Many of the adult Camelite population were killed, leaving many orphans behind, and the survivors were trapped on a ruined planet prowled by violent gangs, which had free hand thanks to the collapse of the planet's government. According to the Deep Space Nine technical manual, the Cardassian Border Wars reached their height in the late 2350s, but by the early 2360s they had ground to a stalemate. Fighting stopped after a truce in 2366, and the next year, the Federation-Carsassian Armistice of 2367 was signed, making the war officially over. But despite this armistice, there were several clashes between the Federation and the Cardassians over the course of the next few years, and it wasn't until 2370 that the conflict truly ended. Later in 2367, the USS Phoenix, commanded by Captain Benjamin Maxwell, went rogue and began attacking Cardassian targets. Maxwell, who had lost his whole family in the Setlik 3 massacre, believed the Cardassians were preparing for a repeat invasion of Federation space, and he decided to carry out a series of preemptive strikes to stop this. Under his command, the USS Phoenix destroyed several Cardassian vessels, both capital ships and supply ships, as well as a civilian science outpost. Hoping to prevent a restart of the Border Wars, Starfleet dispatched Captain Picard and the Galaxy-class USS Enterprise-D to stop Maxwell's campaign and bring the Phoenix back to Starbase 211. Picard was unable to get through to Maxwell, but Chief O'Brien, who had served under Maxwell at Setlik 3, was ultimately able to talk him down. The Phoenix returned to Federation space, and a fragile peace between the Federation and the Cardassians held. But Picard did warn them he would be watching.
Captain, I assure you.
Take this message to your leaders, Galmasset. We'll be watching.
The Cardassians violated the Armistice on several occasions as well. In 2368, they destroyed a Federation colony on Solarian 4 and attempted to frame the Bajorans for it. While in 2369, they attempted to take the Minas Corva system, which contained a Federation colony and was located 4 light years from the Cardassian border. Despite these infractions, however, peace between the two powers held for long enough that a formal peace treaty was ratified. Signed in 2370, the Federation-Cardassian Treaty ended the border conflicts by establishing a new Federation-Cardassian border. This new border was located within a broader demilitarized zone. Within this DMZ, both the Cardassians and the Federation were forbidden from establishing a military presence. At long last, the Cardassian Border Wars were over, and the Federation and Cardassians would remain this peace until the start of the Dominion War. The Cardassian Border Wars were long and bloody. They left many people dead on both sides, and they left many more forever scarred by the horrors they had witnessed. The conflict had serious ramifications for the entire Alpha Quadrant, not just because of the toll to the Federation and the Cardassian Union, but also because it set the stage for even more bloodshed in the 2370s. Tensions remained high between the Federation and the Cardassians, right up until the Dominion War, when the two powers clashed once again. On top of that, the Federation-Cardassian Treaty was controversial, especially among those living near the Cardassian border. As part of its terms, the Federation ceded several colonies to the Cardassians. Among them, Volan 2 and 3, Dorvan 5, Jehoea, Salva 2, Umov 8, and Soltok 4. The colonists on these planets objected to the treaty. They felt that the Federation had ignored their needs and rights in the pursuit of its own geopolitical interests, and many of them felt betrayed because of this. Dissidents on these colonies, assisted by defectors from Starfleet, formed an insurgency known as the Maquis, which began waging a guerrilla war within the DMZ. At first, the Maquis were mainly opposed to the Cardassians, but after Starfleet began attempting to suppress the insurgency to maintain the fragile peace with the Cardassians, the Maquis turned against the Federation too. They had plans of creating their own interstellar government before the Cardassian-Dominion alliance put an end to their insurgency. But the story of the Maquis is really worth a video of its own. Do let us know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. So that's our look at the Cardassian Border Wars, one of the longest and most brutal of the Federation wars. This is a bit of unexplored period in the Star Trek lore, one that we'd love to see a future series cover, though at the moment that doesn't seem particularly likely. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then be sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.